Hi, Scott. So there's a couple things. I took a look at your video, and there's a couple things we're going to break down here into your swing. So basically, we're going to go setup, rotation, posture during the swing, releasing it early, and club face control. So we're going to break it down into 5 elements. So first of all, in setup, when you set up to hit the golf ball, you set up really upright. So basically, you want to feel like you bend at your hip. Typically, like hitting a 7-iron, your spine's going to be anywhere from a 35 to 45 degree angle. You're very upright, which is going to have a pretty big impact on how our body moves throughout the swing at that point. So basically at setup, we want you to just feel like your butt goes up in the air, chest comes down, end of the grip is going to point like right to your belt line. Arms are going to fall into your shoulders, so you can see that's a little more athletic. If you start to get too upright, now I'm not really bending much at the hip. So again, just we want to set up and bend. What that's going to do, that's ultimately going to help us create a better rotation as well with our pelvis and our torso throughout the swing. Pretty simple. Just you can use the Coach Now app and just take pictures or video your swing. And again, it's like you see my butt goes up, chest comes down. What I'm doing is I'm arching my back, my low back, to create that neutral posture. Number 2 is rotation. So there's a lot of extra movements you create in the swing. We want to keep the swing as simple as possible. And right now, when you're hitting a golf ball, you set up. And the nice thing about golf in comparison to other sports, you play golf, tennis, you have to react to playing like tennis or baseball, you have to react to this ball being thrown at you or hit at you. The nice thing about golf is that's a nice stationary target. When we rotate around our spine, we're swinging a club in a circle around our spine and have a very predictable spot where the club's going to bottom out, hit the golf ball, low point right in front of the golf ball, hit the turf, take the divot, and then start to travel back up in that circle again. So right now, you're essentially turning the golf ball into a moving target. So I imagine you get a lot of chunk shots, and this is why. So when you set up, number 1, as I go back, you can see how my head basically stayed very stable. When you're swinging, your body goes this way, your hip goes this way, and your head also ends up outside over your right foot or even outside your right foot. So really simple drill here. This doubles as posture too. So first one here, if I just put a stick or a club on the ground about 5 feet in front of me, I'm gonna put the club right over my collarbone. I'm gonna take my setup, and first of all, I have a stick about 5 feet in front of me. You can't see it in the video here, but as I rotate back, the club over my collarbone points at that when I go backwards, when I go back in my backswing, and when I rotate forward, that club over my collarbone again is pointing at that line. So that's a great, again, going back to our posture issue, that's a great way to work posture throughout the entire swing. As far as lateral movements go, so when I set up to hit a golf ball, what you want to feel is in your backswing, you want to feel like your right back pocket is going to be turning towards the target, and then on your downswing and forward swing, your left back pocket's rotating back behind you. So right now, as you're swinging with the lateral movement here, again, we're going this way. We want to create rotation. So again, if I put a club stick down 5 feet in front of me, the big thing I want you to watch in this video here now is watch what my right hip is going to do. My right hip has an internal rotation, so I'm going to put the club over my collarbone. The club again is going to point 5 feet in front of me down at the club I have. As I rotate forward, again the club's going to point at that, my club over my collarbone is going to point at the club on the ground. Now the key here is watch what my right hip does. If I had a stick or something straight up from my right hip here, or right from the outside of my right shoe to my hip, you can see there's about a 3-inch gap. When I rotate in my backswing, you see how I actually created more space here. So now there's about 6 or 7 inches. But the key is my head stays stable, and when I do this, my hip rotates and stays on the inside of the outside of my right shoe. Right now in your swing, hip goes outside your right foot, head goes outside your right foot, and that causes all kinds of issues when we hit a golf ball, because now when we rotate, my spine's stable, I get to the top, come back down, hit the golf ball, follow through. Now, in this case, my spine moves out to my right foot. Where's that? I have about a 6-inch window now, because now I have to rotate, I have to move this lateral motion forward to actually come back down and hit the golf ball. So that opens up about a 6-inch window where I could easily hit the ground and chunk it and then kind of bounce up into the ball. So hopefully that makes sense. So first one is posture and address. Number 2 is going to be this lateral motion. We want to eliminate lateral and create rotation. So I put a video of Nelly Korda on the Coach Now space for you. That's a great one to watch. It has a couple pre-drawn lines. Watch that line that I drew right on the inside, outside of her right hip. She actually creates space there in her backswing up to the top of her backswing. Next one here is going to be posture as we swing the club around our body. So right now, you set up, there's some up and down, you start to dip down. As you swing, come back down to the golf ball, you're standing back up again. Again, go back to this drill here. This is awesome for you. You can see how my shoulder plane is pointing at the same line going back and forward in my backswing and forward swing. You're creating lots of extra movements doing stuff like that. So if you're standing up and losing your posture, the other thing that's happening is you're releasing the club really early. So when I set up to hit a golf ball, I kind of make an L with my left arm in the club. When I go back, I'm trying to maintain that L position so it's not going to quite be that 90-degree angle, but I do want my left arm to be straight, I want my hands to be leading in, and I want the shaft to be leaning forward as I swing into the golf ball. So in reality, the first time where my left arm in the club form a straight line should be somewhere after I hit the golf ball. If you're standing up like this, what's going to happen? Now you have to make some sort of compensation. I rose up, I have to release the club early now, and I'm eliminating hip rotation. I can't be rotating my left hip out of the way if I'm standing up. So the compensation you're making is now you throw it down with your left arm in the club, and you can see I have a straight line with my left arm in the club early, and you can see how now I'm moving lateral to try to hit that golf ball. It's like a moving target now because I'm moving. You can see the likelihood where it's not as predictable where the club's going to bottom out. You can potentially chunk it a little bit early. A great drill for this is, number 1, we got to get posture and rotation working together. And you just want to feel the butt end of the club point down the target line. I've used laser pointers. You've probably seen me do this at the junior classes. And I use there's a laser pointer you get on golf, just on Amazon, just called a golf laser pointer. And it looks like a little golf pencil, it just goes right into the end of the grip here. And what you're doing is, if that laser pointer if I'm swinging correctly, the laser pointer, the butt end of the club is pointing down the target line an extended period of time. So that's still in front of that butt end of the grip is still pointing out in front of the golf ball, down the target line right here. It would look something like this, face on. You can see how I'm maintaining that shaft lean, and the butt end of the grip is pointing out in front of me. If you release it early, where's that going? It's going up towards my chest now. So that's a great way. Another way is just a simple one. This is an old school drill. Grip down drill. I'm just going to take my hands, grip it right below the grip on the shaft, and again, watch what's going to happen. Club's going to be about even with my knees, end of the grip points to my belt line, kind of make a little L with my left arm in the club. I'm rotating, and I'm making sure that butt end of the club is pointing out in front of me an extended period of time. When you look at me this angle, face on, again, you can see the butt end of the club is pointing out in front of me longer. If you stand up, this is a natural reaction. Everything in the golf swing is cause and effect. So that's getting you in a stuck position. Finally, club face control. So there's a lot happening here, and probably it's easier to start in a more static position like setup, and then get into the rotation, and then start to worry about what the club's doing and how you're controlling that club face now around your body. But right now, when you swing a golf club, you're opening the club up pretty excessively, like right to about there. It's like toe up, or even a little bit more with the driver. It was even more open. Pretty much my spine angle, my posture is represented. You'll see this on the Coach Now space with the Tommy Fleetwood, Cindy Clanton swings. The lines are already pre-drawn from their ear to their hip. That's representing the posture spine angle. When you watch those swings, that line on their ear and hip never moves. It stays on, they're in posture, they're in posture until right about here, and then they start to stand up. So when I swing the club back, you can see now the club face angle right here is matching my spine angle, and it's going to continue to match my spine angle as close as I can. And as I get the club around my right shoulder, now the grooves of the club face are going to start to be visible as I get up to the top of my backswing. So now you can kind of see grooves of the face. This is key now. So as you come back down, if you want to hang back, get your weight hanging back and release it early. If you show me the sole of the club or even I can read the branding of the club. That is a stuck position, the club face is open, and I'm doing everything I can to manipulate and just try to flip the face open through impact, and it definitely looks something like this where I'm getting my left arm in a club in a straight line early. Rather, I want to get top of my backswing. Now, I'm actually going to show you grooves of the club face. If you watch Cindy Clanton, Tommy Fleetwood, watch both of them. They get the club to the top. As they come back down, you see grooves of the club face, grooves of the club face. And when you get to about parallel to the ground, I'm okay. So if you're trying to eliminate slicing the golf ball, which I'm sure that's probably your biggest miss right now, I'm okay even with that club face kind of matching your spine angle again. Because now if your hip gets out, if you're in your posture, your hip gets out of the way, hopefully that club face might even be a couple degrees closed. Now that will create a little bit more of a draw, hopefully eliminate the slice for you at that point. But pretty much what we do on one side of the golf ball is going to be the opposite on the other. So kind of if I'm showing the face, maybe the club face is matching my spine angle a little bit right there, about parallel to the ground. It's going to point at the target, slightly closed. And then as I go forward, that toe is going to be in a slightly closed position when I go forward. Post impact, it might be something a little bit more like that, kind of making X through my spine angle. Now, one thing to watch, if you start hooking it, again, we start watching the club face. So if I come back down, you can get more in a toe up position, toe up, points at the target, toe up position. So it's more about where you are in the development of controlling that face and controlling the golf ball. Once you control the face, you own the face, you own ball flight. You control distance, direction, trajectory every single time.